So basically, the group of people who attacked me is the same of the group who attacked Tsai Ing-wen, and they use the same method. Like in Hong Kong, it also happened for similar time. And like in July and June, they basically use the same method to attack people. Like Wuhan, Taiwan, people who attack me, the police, they have taken away their uniforms and then try to exercise their power and control. So basically, China is their evil power to take in different countries. You can they're ruling the country with riots, with police, with lies, and with falsity. So basically, they use these four methods to rule different countries. So this group of people has already come to Bannon's home. So Bannon has already said a lot of times in different conferences that China is the threat in this world. So China has already been kidnapped by the CCP because of the slogan raised by Bannon. So everyone is saying that CCP is the threat of people, but not the Chinese people themselves. But we can see in the video that people who are kidnapped, so we have to ask Bannon, what do you think about this series of incidents, like from New York, Hong Kong, think Taiwan, about this series of incidents, like from New York, Hong Kong, try to take Taiwan of people, like by using like how the Chinese try to take control this kind of people, like by using falsity, lies. Police, this kind of methods.
We're so lucky to have a young Hong Kong young lady who's not shopping today, who's actually mainly shopping. Okay.
We relax.
We're so lucky to have a young Hong Kong young lady who's not shopping today, who's actually mainly shopping.
哎，你好好翻译啊，声音大点，对准话筒。这个咱们的翻译现在除了帅脸漂亮，就是帅哥，真的是喜马拉雅的进展。真是这个不知道。你刚才班农先生，是，哎，你好好翻译啊，声音大点，对准话筒。哦，翻译岗位啊，发炉。我们这屋现在除了美帅，就是帅哥，真的是喜马拉雅大进展。
I have thanks to my good friend Miles Clark up there. Thanks to my good friend Miles Clark.
Oh, you know this. Seriously. So everything is so happy. 共产党这个刚才半农这个黑手。
好，所以现在班农先生就说了一个很严肃的话题。
接下来要谈的话题。
那我待会要说的。
共产党班农先生的演讲啊，叫泰瑞过台军选台湾总统。
Bennett has talked about in a conference like in Taiwan, 郭台铭、韩国瑜 this kind of people
这三个人还有柯文哲
和柯文哲
都是
these three
柯文哲
people
班农先生没概念，我还没给他说呢。
柯文哲 Bennett does not know who
选总统跑到北京去，
is
见
and
中国
then
台办
President Tsai has come to New York
关上门了，以为没有媒体录像，
and then
竟
she
然叫
does like
录
there
像
are
叫
no
大大，
media reporting
然后郭台铭哭了，60几岁给整
郭台铭
哭了，
cried
党内初选就给选哭了，
like because of
而
the
且经常他
elections
说出
within
什
the
么样的谎
party
言来，
which
韩
made
国
him
瑜
sad
你不要跟我选嘛，
and then
你
he
待
told
在高
Han
雄，
Kuo-yu hey
你
don't
让我
try
选
to
什么？
elect
让我选4年
Let me
，4年后让你干。
be elected and after 4 years you can be
你想想
elected
这个概念是什么？
so think
这
about
个
what
郭
kind of
台铭
concept
说
that
这个
is
话不是开玩笑的。
so
他
what
为
I
什么
mean
说
is no joke
我要干4年，然后给你韩
why
国瑜
would
干？
he said
这
hey
台湾
let
是
me
你
be
家的吗？
let me be president for 4 years
你还没
let
选
me
上
be
呢
4，
就
years
已经分配4年后的江山了。
like he has not been
这
elected
谁跟你
but
讲
then
的
he
呀？
already said hey let me be
人家
a
民进党
president
蔡英
for
文
4
总统还
years
在那选呢，
and then President Tsai is still a president so
完全是
this is basically the order from the CCP
这就叫3枪政治，梆梆，然后后边别那个枪。啊，但是你能看到台湾的政治流氓
but then you can see the gangsters in Taiwan like 郭台铭
啊，我是在8、9个月以前我就说，
like around 8 to 9 months or 1 year before I said 郭台铭 he would come out to try to elect for president and then I said he will lose his everything like his health, his wealth, etc. And then the election hasn't even started yet and then he has already experienced this to the whole country and then he's come to US saying that he will create some job opportunities in the
所
US
以郭台铭这个人是中共的
I would say 郭台铭 is
代表，
representative of the Chinese government
把美国
with false lies
把班农先生他们这个团队骗一下，
trying to
然后呢又
lie
在
to
大陆
different people
搞工厂、黑工厂，
and
死了
then
那么多人，跑到
make
台湾
people die in China and then like go to Taiwan to run for president but then there is democracy in
因
Taiwan
为台湾的民主太民主了。
because of the democracy in Taiwan that's why 郭台铭 cried
郭台铭输了，他是全世界的笑话。
if 郭台铭 loses he will be the joke in the whole world
留下下场的。
so basically if you try to be allies with CCP you will not have good results whether you're
香港、台湾的样板，
郭台铭
同样的是，
so basically
香
Hong
港
Kong
是台湾
is
的
a
样板。
replication of Taiwan 郭台铭 Hong Kong and Taiwan are examples of the whole
班
world
农先生说绝对不能让他当选。
so Bennett said that 郭台铭 cannot be elected
有了很大的影响，请班农先生谈谈。
so I will let
郭台铭哭
Bennett
啊，
say
有那个视频吗？
what he thinks about 郭台铭
郭台
crying
铭哭的视频。我们讲的时候，你可以放那段视频，please。
Listen, I think this shows the power of grow media, and it shows the power of a free media. When this first started, you know, Terry Guo looked like it was going to be overwhelming. I mean, they were just going to crown him the king of Taiwan, right? There didn't even have to be an election. When he announced, it was like, oh, this is going to be terrific. I've had some Taiwan patriots come to me in the last couple of days when this polling has been out, and it's not final. Tomorrow, I think they announce who the winner is, but I think Mayor Han is, I think, 10 points up as of right now in the early polling. But even that has got enough that Terry Guo is now crying on the thing, and this shows you the power. This gets back to my first thing. If you get information to the Chinese people, they'll make their own decisions, right? This is why CCP has to listen. The Chinese people are very prudent, very practical, very common sense. What they need is the truth. What they need is information, and they can determine what they want to do. Before Glow Media and before Miles and I talked about this over, 2 months ago, Terry Glow was going to be crowned King of Taiwan. His announcement was like the biggest. It was world news. It went everywhere, right? They were just going to anoint him, and Terry Glow was just going to be the guy. And here's what you saw: as we did these broadcasts, and then as Dennis Peng and others in Taiwan, these heroes in Taiwan, picked it up and started having talk shows about it, and people in Taiwan started to talk. Hey, guess what? Terry Glow can't even win the primary for the KMT. And it's not close. Right now, it's a 10-point difference. That's why he's crying, And this is a huge loss of face for Terry Glow. This will be humiliation on a global stage. And why is it? Is because the little guy in Taiwan, when given the choice for their own freedom, when they can vote in democracy, they can make their own decision. They don't need to have the CCP and everybody tell them how great Terry Glow is. They make their own decision, right? That's what people in Hong Kong are asking for right now. That's what Chinese expatriates here in the United States are asking for in mainland China. All people are asking for is some very basic human rights that the rest of the world has. And why can't the people in mainland China have that? Why can't they have freedom of information? Why can't they have freedom of speech? Why can't they have freedom of assembly? Why can't they have freedom of religion? Why is it? What's about the Chinese people that's so bad and so awful that they can't have the basic human rights that you have in Africa, in parts of the Middle East, in South Asia? Why is India have the biggest democracy in the world? It takes them a month to vote, but they all voted. I think something like 800 million people voted, or 600 million people, to broadcasting that. And we started talking about Terry Glow. They were going to anoint Terry Glow the King of Taiwan, right? But then when people actually started thinking about it, and they started doing the polling, Terry Glow is 10 points behind the mayor of Kaohsiung, Mayor Han, right? And now you're about, if Han wins, you're going to have, what's stunning is Terry Glow in 2 months, because of this broadcast that started, and Dennis Peng and others, and we had Dennis on that show the first time we did the Terry Glow show. We had Dennis Peng on there, Miles. It shows you get information out to people, you get the truth out to people. It's so important, and people make decisions. That's why we'll get back to this later. The suppression of information in China by the CCP, by Wang Xi.
Taiwan people and Hong Kong people are people who we have to protect. Taiwan people and Hong Kong people are people who we have to protect. So Taiwan is neither our friend or enemy. Taiwan is just a small person. It's just a small person. So having she come to New York is a perfect arrangement, but the Taiwan hasn't made good use of this opportunity. Perfect arrangement, but this is the trouble of Taiwanese politics. So basically they will get afraid a lot of times, and then they didn't seize these opportunities well. So a lot of politicians said this time is very weak. They're only concerned about the election. So basically, what they are thinking right now is the Taiwanese president election. They just think about that right now. They just focus on that right now. So this time, like Amsel, the stay over in New York, or like meeting in the embassy. So you can see in this video. So the congressman. So basically, they have asked Tsai Ing-wen to go to D.C. to
就像我
give a speech.
见过的所有的美国的官方的高层人员，某些部门的，我说中美之间的。
So what I say is, the three communiques,
其中一个
the three joint communiques.
一个中国政策没有说你中华人民共和国，也没有说中华民国。
So the One China policy does not
啊，
talk
这一个
about
中国不是你共产党的
the
中国，
PRC.
美国从来没有承认过。啊，
America
这是为什么
never
台湾
recognizes the
当时邓
CCP.
庆红在新加坡的会谈，汪辜会谈，诞生了一个叫做“92共识”，一中各表啊。
So basically, they have
92
reached
年的
the
共同一个标准，一个中
920
国
agreement.
两个表达。
This talks about one China and then two ways of expression. So what I say about
这个共产党。
China is not about people PRC or the
台
CCP.
湾来去管理大陆，你觉得这人疯了？那么现在在世界上民主法治的社会，
So in this democratic
参与管理
world,
整个中华人。
why Taiwan cannot try to rule the Chinese
当
people?
然可以。
For sure, Taiwan can rule the Chinese
这
people.
么大的一个历史积分，你到了这个纽约来，
But then,
说实在话，
Tsai Ing-wen
很专业
does
的
not
政治
seize
家，
this opportunity.
但绝
She
对
is
不是一个
clever,
超级的政治家。
but then she's not a very good politician.
用很多美国的人跟我说 ，too weak，
So I would say
politics。
she's too weak, she's too soft.
那么现在我想听班农先生。
So I would like to
说，请班农先生。
hear about Bannon.
蔡英文访问美国，这一次意味着什么？对台湾影响了什么？你怎么看待这次的？
So what do you think is the implication of Tsai Ing-wen visiting New York, and what do you think about this incident?
Well, look, this is, they say it's a 4-day
他们说这
layover to catch a flight to the Caribbean. They have daily flights to the Caribbean from New York City. So I think this is President Trump, Vice President Pence, Secretary of State Pompeo, that you see now, I think, a very organized effort by the United States to start to take Taiwan more into consideration. I think one of the things you just saw, the massive arms sales, led by people like Senator Rubio and Senator Cotton, the approval of that. In addition, I think that this layover, or this stay here, was pretty historic. And one of the facts is that she went up to Columbia University, the Ivy League university here in New York City, and gave a speech. And so I think it was I think symbolically, it's very huge. It shows where the Trump administration, really is in supporting freedom of speech, and particularly, a new recognition of the reality of Taiwan. We have said, here on this broadcast for the last 2 or 3 months, there's two very important elections in 2020. One is Donald Trump's re-election in the United States in November. But almost as importantly is in January is this election in Taiwan. And I think to date, a lot of people have felt that President Tsai is not as strong, is not as tough to the CCP as maybe she should be. But she did win the primary over Lai, quite surprisingly, but she won that primary, so we'll have to see how it plays out. But, for President Tsai, I would just say, take a look at Carrie Lam. Carrie Lam's not doing so good, right? Carrie Lam's not going to have her job too much longer. So being a running dog, being associated with the CCP, doing what the CCP wants, is not career enhancing as a politician. Now, President Tsai has stood up to the CCP. The question is how strongly she's going to stand up. But I got to tell you, Miles, coming to the United States, being here for 4 days, giving that speech at Columbia University, getting a certain amount of media attention, it wasn't the amount that it should have been, because even the media here is a little bit afraid of the CCP and the control of the media in China. But I thought it was a very important, this is kind of a historic visit. It's a historic speech up at Columbia. As importantly, if you're here in New York City, is to look at the protesters. The protesters outside the Grand Hyatt are the same protesters that are outside Miles Kwok's apartment on Fifth Avenue. And I think that really was, particularly for the media, it was a time of awakening, because, they saw that, hey, the Miles Kwok, all these people down there said, yeah, we're Chinese, we don't like Miles Kwok, and people are saying, no, they're really agents of the CCP being paid by Wan Xishan. And then you saw the exact same people virtually over at the Grand Hyatt protesting President Tsai. So I thought it was a very big eye-opener. This was a historic thing. The election in Taiwan in 2020, January 2020, is as important as it gets. It's going to be, I think, a world event. People will be, I know, we'll be very focused on at Guo Media. I think Miles has done a great job of raising the awareness of this on a global basis, and I think it's going to be very important. And here's the amazing thing that's starting off with. Terry Guo, 2 months ago, when he was announced, particularly here in the United States, people thought, well, Terry Guo's Foxconn. Terry Guo's, one of the richest guys in the world. Terry Guo, tells us he's the richest guy in Taiwan. He's just going to be anointed the king. It's going to be a coronation. They're going to put a crown on his head and he's going to be the Xi of Taiwan. Well, as you saw in the video here a second ago in the still, Terry Guo's got the handkerchief up to his face and big crocodile tears. Huge tears coming down, right? Big loss of face for Terry Guo if he doesn't pull it out the next day. And Mayor Han is announced as the winner for the KMT. It's going to be a huge loss of face. And that is 100% because of free media. That's 100% of people like Miles, of like Guo Media, Dennis Peng on Taiwan, and others who kind of picked this up and allowed the Taiwan people to kind of weigh and measure. And hey, when they weighed and measured, Terry Guo came up very, very short. So this election in 2020 couldn't be more important. This visit here to the United States couldn't be more important. So I think we're seeing a real, shift, Miles.
这个我说到这儿的时候，大家直播到这儿啊，我很惊讶今天啊，这个竟然是所有人都说翻译港妹翻译的非常好，哇塞，这个有点让我很震惊啊！我说实话，我今天我给班头先生昨天说，班头先生你做好心理准备，50%的翻译都不错了。
So basically, I have told Bannon that it is already very good if you can listen 50% of the conversations. But then a lot of people have said that the translator has done a good job. So basically, we have 2 channels right now. We have the Chinese and we have the English one. So there are
why is Voice of America not having this? Why does it have to be poor Miles
Guo
that has 2 channels live broadcast on a Sunday? Where's Voice of America? Where's Mandarin service? Where Voice of America? This shows you the power of the Guo Media platform and trying to get information to people, that you're actually running 2 channels and Voice America is doing nothing.
我们也是，微微实在是太糟糕了啊！这个我们接下来会不会行动？我接着说，现在翻译奶奶们下面一在那块海边泡澡呢啊，泡澡呢，不是冲浪的。我估计看到这一幕已经起标跳海了，大家别看啊！翻译奶奶这个战斗性很强啊！ 哇塞，这还了得！长江后浪推前浪，一代更比一代强，不是一代更比一代强啊！这就是实力。这翻译两年今年啊，宋庄今天是表现真的是，我觉得这就占有了技术。
So allies, you guys have to remember. I saw that there are a lot of things that haven't been done well. For example, like this painting, and then it is not that good. That's why I try to change it. And then you can see that there is a nail there. We just put it there. So don't try to make your allies nervous. Don't try to blame your allies. So what is the most important thing is to have trust in your allies. So I told my staff, and then I asked my staff not to get worried, not to get nervous, and this is what allies do. So at this moment, you cannot just scold your allies. For example, like my technician, and then he's doing his best to run this part. So what I think about President Tsai visiting New York, what I say is she doesn't do a best job, but then she doesn't do it very worse either. At least she didn't sell Taiwan out like Carrie Lam in Hong Kong.
我们给他制造了太好的氛围了。这回他到纽约来，我说他有
So basically, when she came to New York, there are 3 good things.
政治表演家。
The first thing is she's a good politician trying to perform here. She's a good performer in terms of political. And then her English is good as a politician. And then she understands the U.S. culture as an Asian. So she's not sensitive to the politics. She doesn't have the sense of responsibility. It is not her personal win. It is about the Taiwanese people. But then she doesn't have this kind of mindset. She doesn't have this responsibility. So she doesn't have that sense of control as a politician. So you can see, like in Taiwan, like the media do not report about this. Like in the Chinese community, not a lot of people reporting this matter. So all of them just focus on the election, the presidential election. If people like President Tsai got elected, she'll be even worse than Guo Taiming. If Guo Taiming, Ko Wen-je, they will sell Taiwan out. At least they will tell the Taiwanese people a specific answer is that they will sell Taiwan out, just like Carrie Lam. She tried to sell Hong Kong out, like enacting the law. At least the Hong Kong people, they will know what the directions are. Like if Guo Taiming, they are elected, then there will be a lot of protests in Taiwan. Then there will be opportunities as well, though there are a lot of threats. But then if you re-elect President Tsai, she will not sell Taiwan out. But then she cannot give Taiwan a big help either. A good politician should lead the people to a good path. They should lead them to a path of trust. A bad politician, they will create devastations, just like CCP. So when President Tsai came here, I think it is a catastrophe. Like she does not know how dangerous she is. Like the Chinese government tried to give threats to her. But then she didn't realize this threat. She just kept on saying English. Can English really save China? English cannot save China. President Tsai.
Can show very sure of English. English cannot help Taiwan.
So English cannot help Taiwan. What Taiwan needs is a smart politician. And this time the U.S. has given her the opportunity, but then she does not seize it.
这你不是就放放。
好，那我把视频完成切过去了。
切过来。You look at this. First time is the American Congress, senator. They call it Taiwan's country. Okay, Taiwan's independence. Will they take it to Taiwan go to this? Yeah, please. 啊，我这一讲英文比翻译小妹这个厉
And I look forward to working even more closely with all of you to strengthen our partnership and look towards a brighter future.
好，行，你就这吧，回来吧。
So what I'm trying to say is that President Tsai does not know Taiwanese people has a strong power in the States, and they are trying to help the Taiwanese to go to a path of freedom and democracy. So I really despise Tsai Ing-wen. If Taiwan try to re-elect her, if Taiwan waits 4 years again, tell me what she can actually do. Taiwan will be doomed. So basically, the remaining power of the CCP will try to attack Taiwan. They will crash Taiwan. If Shin Sui-bian came here again, so basically, like when President Tsai came, CCP cannot do anything. So I will say basically the political career of Tsai actually comes to an end. She will actually cry too, because she didn't seize this opportunity, but then she made this opportunity as a platform for her own re-election. So this is a catastrophe. This is a big catastrophe. This is an irrevocable catastrophe. So this people fight for you, not for your election. Just like Carrie Lam, she's worst. Though she's a really bad person, but then she has the courage. If Carrie Lam does not help CCP and help Hong Kong instead, she will be very powerful. Like the ability between Carrie Lam and also Tsai is such a big difference. Just like in political aspect, Bannon is much better than I do. So I would like to hear your opinion. So a lot of people, they said Taiwan is an independent country, and then they will invite Taiwan to DC. And then I heard people from the military aspect. So there are soldiers around Taiwan patrolling, or like in.
和美国航空母舰和驻台机构是否会更加深刻保护台湾。
So after this re-election of Taiwan, do you think the U.S. will step up its power to protect Taiwan?
Let me before I get to that, what would you like President Tsai to do? Walk me through. You're saying she just focused. Remember, she is a politician, right? But politicians' #1 goal in life is re-election, right? And I understand she's focused on her re-election. She's under a lot of pressure, even to come here for 4 days. Tell me, what would you like her? You want her to be tougher. You want her to be stronger. What do you think that she has to do in order to get the CCP, stop CCP involvement in Taiwan's political and economic life? What would you recommend she do?
So I didn't really prepare that. This is a test to me. So what I think she has to do. So I think she has to do 2 things. The first thing is. So yesterday, when I woke up in the morning, when I woke up early, basically I was on the internet. Yesterday night at 3:30, and then I talked with a previous leader in Shanghai, and then we had a chat, and then I have expressed my viewpoint. He said, luckily President Tsai didn't react much. If you were President Tsai, what would you do? Just like what Bannon asked me. So basically, she can do 2 things. The first thing is, so she has to announce that the Taiwanese people are against the CCP. So basically, as long as CCP is here, Taiwan will not cooperate with China. So basically, in all matters related to China, they will have some new rules. For example, in the economic sector, media security, or this kind of aspects. So this is the rule #1. So she has to announce this in the States. So basically, Taiwan tried to help Huawei right now. So basically, President Tsai has to know that there are some people in Taiwan actually are helping CCP out in different aspects. So she can basically say this out, like in Congress, right? This is very important. So this is rule #1. And the second thing is, President Tsai has to know clearly that she came here not because of herself. It's because what the Taiwanese people are facing. They have the threat from CCP. Like the freedom of speech, the freedom is dwindling. So the Taiwanese people are getting more afraid, more fearful. So she has to announce that she is against the 90 agreement. She has to say that she does not agree with the 1 country 2 system policy. So she has to try to save those people who are arrested or imprisoned in China. So she has to open the door for all people who were persecuted by the Chinese government. If Taiwan supports Hong Kong, it is to protect Taiwan. It's that simple. So this is what I think she should do.
他跑这哥伦比亚讲了半天英文，修了半天自己朋友，那不是你猜英文搞出来的。你猜英文要开公司。
She has come to Colombia to give a speech. This is not what she's supposed to do.
美国这些政客现实着呢，会搭理你吗？是因为台湾。
All these things happen is because of the fight of Taiwanese people, not because of herself. There are a lot of strong fighters, strong Taiwanese fighters in the States. She's trying to frame that it is her own effort. She doesn't say clearly what she thinks about the Hong Kong things. And then the Taiwanese economy is kidnapped by China. And then China is stealing the technology from US. But then she didn't say a thing. So, so basically she's a dirty politician.
I think it's very powerful. I think a couple things. Number one, what Miles said was very powerful. Her ability to come here and everything that's going on is because of the great Taiwanese patriots that are over here that have been fighting this every day. And I think they deserve a tremendous amount of credit. I also think it's very important that people in the United States right now, not even the politicians, make that direct link with what the CCP is doing in Taiwan, how much influence the CCP has, how much, this whole election has a whole sub-current underneath it of the CCP's influence operation, of the CCP's power. And clearly she's not doing a good enough job, I think, to bring that out, right, and to show real boldness and leadership in doing it and making sure the American people are aware of that. And then the last point I actually think is the most important, because what has driven this narrative on a global basis here in the last couple of months is the heroism of the young people of Hong Kong that have gone into the streets and been tear gassed and shot by rubber bullets and had the mainland CCP, PLA, riot police beat them with clubs and sticks. The whole world has seen that. And I think it's obviously disturbing that you haven't seen a more forceful condemnation of what the CCP is doing and to put down the demonstrations in Hong Kong by President Tsai and the Taiwanese government. And you don't definitely see any kind of calling out of Carrie Lam and all these politicians that are appointed by Beijing that have sold out the Hong Kong people. So, Miles, I would just tell you, that would take real leadership, and we'll have to see if that happens or not. But I think we're a long way. I think we're a long way from that. The bottom line in 2020, if the KMT and particularly Terry Guo would win, it'd be a disaster for Taiwan. So we'll have to see how this develops. But it definitely, there was as historic as this 4 days was, it was a missed opportunity and not enough hot talking about, particularly about support for Hong Kong and really calling out the CCP.
So I would say Bannon is a powerful politician. I learned a lot from Bannon. So I try to
learn the hot talking.
So Bannon's viewpoint is always shocking to me, and that's why I would say U.S. is powerful. A lot of U.S. people, their viewpoint actually shocked me. I would say Taiwan is just like a small island. So what we heard from our friends, they always said, how come President Tsai came into New York is just like a political show for herself. So what she said, what she does, is just about her own re-election. So even though her body is in the States, but then like what she thinks or her mind is actually in Taiwan, just thinking about her Taiwan election.
这俩人要来到美国纽约这活动，你说他俩会整出啥动静出来？啊，我们的丹尼斯文正啊，我们的好哥们儿。
So our good brother Dennis,
给他这个活动，
and then
他得玩多大？
he would come to New York.
那不给弄个天翻地覆啊！
He would make it big.
所以说，悲哀，悲哀。
So I would say this is a tragedy to Taiwan.
说到这儿时候，我们很兴奋啊。
So
共产党到处杀人越货，
CCP try to attack people. They do all kinds of bad things.
杨冠军在
You
两
can
年
see 梁
拉了
冠
几百
军,
号人，开了几十台大客车，
and
天天到我
then
楼下喊。
he came
郭文贵
to
强
my
奸
home.
犯，郭
Go
文
and
贵
Gui is
在
a
美国
rapist. He should be sent back to
现
China.
在我到任何人见面的时候，你介绍麦克斯我外号，
Whenever I see people, I will tell people that I am a
我到
rapist.
哪里我特小声。
My nickname is Rapist Squawk.
还有我现在说 Double Agent 郭
So I will also say that I'm Double Agent Guo.
啊，我特别享受这个。
No,
为什么？
so I typically enjoy these nicknames.
证明了共产党的
So
丑恶。
this actually shows the evilness of the CCP,
造谣和诬陷。
and then they try to defame me, try
当我
launch that disinformation campaign.
谈到台湾的时候，
So when we talk about Taiwan,
为什么台湾的媒体绝大多数都
they
被
are
共产党控制？
also shocked that the Taiwanese media
然
is
后看
controlled
到
by
到了
CCP.
纽约来，竟然红旗飘飘反台湾。
And
台湾
then
人民
when she
报道
came to Taiwan, and then a lot of Chinese protesters
追打这
are
个
protesting, attacking Taiwan, but then the media doesn't report at all in
可
Taiwan.
怕吗？
Isn't
这
this
就彰显
fearful?
了共产党在海外的挺国力量。
So this actually
它
shows
仅仅
the
是在
power
美
of
国有黑暗的
CCP.
沉默的力量吗？仅仅是在台湾和香港吗？大家你们还记得王建是
So not only do they have the power in
王
Hong
建
Kong
在
and
7
Taiwan,
月3号
they also have power in the States. Do you remember about Wang Jian's death? He was
王岐
killed
山的
in July.
杜书立那儿得知第一个报道，王建同志在南法被杀了，
So basically he was killed in
是什么？拍
France
照死。
because when he took a
后
photo,
来海航的主席
and then the founder of
那个
HNA,
地方跳下去也摔不死，
but then when someone tried to jump from
不
there,
是这个自杀，
he
但有可能
doesn't get killed.
他是击落
So
摔下去以后，
it may be
由于生殖器
because
热了自己戳死了。
it may be because he just like fell down
后来还有人说
accidentally,
他自杀。
or he just committed suicide.
最近陈峰又出来讲话了，
So Chen Feng came out to say that
说
Wang
建
Jian deserves his death.
他说你配阴谋吗？
Oh,
你配阴谋死吗？而且
Wang
王
Jian does not deserve to be killed by others.
翻案呐、订购啊，都是王建的事儿，已经开始推死王建责任了。
So basically, he tried to blame Wang Jian, and then Wang Jian's family, they all shut their mouth up. They're very afraid.
在王建先生被杀的时候，让我看到了中国老百姓。
So from this matter,
为什么70年
what
来被共产党
I saw
被
is
这么绑架强奸的？
how we got kidnapped by the CCP.
家人没有一个站出来敢说话。
So his family is very
他的
weak.
弟弟王
They
伟
do not
7月
dare
3
to
号
speak
的时候
out.
和尚去西雅图王建的坟上给他做法事，
So basically, his family
人都会骗自己。
have tried to arrange a ceremony for
你
Wang
找和尚
Jian.
花钱去那做法事，
They did not try to find out why he is killed, but then he just like arranged a ceremony for him, a
现在
memorial
王
for
建
him.
被人家弄成一个连死都不配一毛死的，杀都不配被杀的，而且海航的
So people all said that Wang Jian does not deserve to be killed, and then just blame all the responsibility to him, and then all his stocks, all his shares were taken
班农
away.
这个郭文贵的法治基金，
But
我们
then
倡导的就是拯
our
救中国。
foundation, the mission of our foundation is to help China, is to pave the way to democracy and freedom,
查清共产党陷害的新疆、西藏、
to
香
help
港
people
台湾
like in Xinjiang, Hong Kong, Taiwan.
我们不会放弃，
We will not give up.
这是一场巨大的较量。
This is a big fight.
今天我在之前我说我要爆个小料。
So today I said I will be a whistleblower. I will talk about news.
班农先生不知道咋回事了，刚才直播间说今天讲啥呀？我说讲台湾和香港和台湾。
So Bannon does not know about this because I just tell him I will talk about HNA, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and then when he asks me what HNA is about, and then you know when you see the video. There is a video that you have not seen before, and there is a shocking story.
共产党他做梦也不会想到。
And this story will not be talked about by CCP. So I have the video. Rapist Squad has this video. So we'll play this video right now.
走起来，lever 啊。
So, our allies, you can see this video. I've told you guys.
Here's what I'm shocked about.
那我觉得惊讶的就是
What I'm principally shocked about is how does the French authorities
为什么法国的官员
why is it Guo Media
不去拿这一个视频，而是国媒体要自己去拿这个影片呢？
Daytime group that's 24 hours
如果你看到
that's 24 hours after the HNA chairman's
如果
death, right? 24 hours, you got state security, you've got all these senior Chinese guys in the hotel. Why did the French authorities not have that and review it and keep the case open and do a more thorough investigation? Why were all these guys not interviewed? How does it turn out that you have state security, MSS, and other senior officials in the hotel, and this is not an easy place in France to get to. Remember, it is miles from anywhere. How does that happen? And the authorities in France are not all over this. You know, they basically shut the case in the first couple hours. That's the thing that's so shocking to me as a Westerner, is to see that the authorities, we're supposed to live under the rule of law, right? Where is Macron and where are the French authorities in reviewing these videos? How could you see this video with all these senior Chinese guys and state security guys crawling around the hotel and not have a more thorough investigation about exactly what went on, when there's so many questions about his death? You know, nobody believes anymore that he took the selfie and fell off the thing. That is the most unbelievable of all. It's got to be something else. But why does it take the independent investigation of a news organization like World Media to do this when French authorities should be doing this? So that's the first thing that comes to mind to me. It's shocking that they did not. And what we know is that according to their files and records of what they've said, they never looked at this, right?
So what he asked is very good. So before this is released, so except our technician and our staff who cut this video, no one has seen this video before, and only several police in France have seen this video. Like a lot of people have not seen this video before. So basically, the investigation in France is illegal because like they try to block all the evidence. So what we want you guys to see is that.
Yeah, can you go through actually? I think what would be helpful, Miles, you go through. Let's go to the start of the tape, and you should identify for the audience who these people are. And tell them if they haven't kept up with, what are we looking at?
那就让他们说一下哦，这里是那个地方，那些人是什么人，这样子。
So we're now going to have play-by-play commentary by Miles.
那我们现在就会一点一点去看，然后就做出评论。那我现在就会告诉大家。So what I want to tell you guys is that, like this video is on July 4th. So after his death, like 2 months after his death, there's a brand that I like. It's Chrome Heart. And then you can see that there's a guy wearing Chrome Heart as well. And this video is on July 4th, 2018, and this guy is Wang Shuhan.
Which, by the way, just remind people, is we are 1 day from when he died. This is the next day. So how do people in China show up? That's my question. This is in a rural area of France. This is not in Paris. It takes you July 4th. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it takes you a while. This is not in Paris or in London. Even if you were in Europe, this takes you almost a day to get to anyway. How do Chinese officials show up less than 24 hours or 24 hours after the chairman of HNA dies? It's so quick. It's not 2 days, not 3 days, not 4 days. It's the day after.
So what Bannon said is very important. So basically, only 3 hours after Wang Jian's death, Yang Guang has already arrived.
3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours.
How does that happen?
这个是怎么会发生呢？
I'm just asking a question. How do you think it? I'm just a simple country boy.
我只是一个农村的男生，但是真的为什么这个会发生了3个小时内就能出现呢？所以他们是知道他的死的，他们就准备了所有的故事。所以他们就把所有的信息都删掉。
everything is fabricated. They before have wonderful plan. Then is when who call it the family in the Seattle, take it is the Wang Jian, the wife and the son go to there.
There's no doubt in your mind.
Yeah.
You've now put almost a year in investigating this.
所以你就是用了1
This
年
happened
的
about
时
a year
间
ago, and you started immediately after this happened. You've put almost a year. You've had your team has made many trips. You've gone to all of the authorities. You know, after a year, there's no doubt, as you just see the evidence and the facts, that this was just randomly some guy taking a selfie and fell off a wall. No doubt that did not happen that way.
100% correct, sir. 我可以说，先生可以告诉你的事情。
So what I can tell you
我
is,
跟你谈起王建这个死
in our conversation about Wang Jian's death and how he's killed,
和王建被杀前的前1年，
and the year before he was killed, basically I have already said that he will be killed 1 year
1年后
after.
只差1天才被杀掉。王岐山的女朋
And
友
then
财新杂志公布
Wang
他是小
Qisan's
在医院里。
girlfriend
后来我派去调
has
查
said that he is dead in
和建那
hospital.
个化工Jackie 和我们派去
For our audience that may be just coming into this and not have facts, why was it important in your mind for the H&A chairman to be eliminated? Why was it important for CCP to take this guy out? This was by now, they had built the largest financial company in the world. They had bought up, on Chinese bank money, right? They had bought up, 50 companies in the last couple of years. They created a financial empire. Why was it so important? Why was it so important for them to eliminate this guy, who was essentially their puppet?
我跟班农先生在一起啊，说实在话，我真的是跟他在一起，真有那种神交的感觉。
So basically, I feel like we have a spiritual connection.
神交的感觉 ，how to say？
Spiritual connection.
一个他是，意思是，我每天都有这个神交的感觉，就是他太，我是看不见啊，我看不见啊，老先生，不用着急啊。为什么？你刚才问的问题是很关键的。
So what you asked me is very fundamental.
王建这个人的死亡，
So the death of Wang
它有
Jian,
4个核心的代表意义。
there are 4 implications that are important.
从我第1天爆料
From the first day of my
到
whistleblowing,
4月19号 VOA 断播，
so until
给我发红通。
19th of April, when VOA stops my interview, and then the red notice that I received from Interpol, and then
和我全家人和我的
I was wanted by the authority, and then like all my staff, families, they arrested,
都罚款我130亿美元，
and then I was got fined for like
所有这些事情
130 billion, and then all these matters are related to H&A, Wang Qishan, Meng Jianzhu, Sun Lijun, they are all
包
related,
括江泽民家。
included
我
by.
从第1天爆料
So on my first day of
到
whistleblowing,
616、
and
717、2017年所有的事件，他的身上。
till what happens, the things that happen,
然后呢，这个说我强奸，
and then they said I'm a rapist,
全是因为他。
and all these things are related
王
to
建之死的真相
Wang Jian.
对我们爆料革命是一个
So
最
the
好的
truth
证
of
据
Wang Jian's death is
它证明了我爆料是真是假，
important
是正
to
义还
our
是私心，
whistleblowing. Like he will reflect
是思
whether
潮
our whistleblowing is
还是国
a
家的希望。
justice,
第1条，
whether
第2条，
it is a hope for the country.
我爆料第1天起，我把中国
So on
共
my
产
first day of
党一
whistleblowing,
些家族列为叫中国的盗国贼。
so I have said that some Chinese officials, they try to sell the country out.
哦，no，我
They sell the country out.
盗国贼啊，盗国
就
贼，这个有个西班牙专业语言，刚才没翻译好，小妹，港妹啊，盗国贼，共产党绝大多数是好人，
So like most of the
一
people
小
in
部分
China,
家
they
人
are
绑架了中
good
国，
people.
然后又绑架了共产党，
Just a small group of people trying to
就是10几个家族在控制的。王建是盗国贼财富的白手套。王建
So basically
证明了海航
Wang Jian's death is a
中
proof
国盗国贼和盗国贼控制中国和共产党的一个最好的证据，这是第二条。
that CCP is trying to take control of China.
第三条，
So the
海
third thing
航
is
在短短的1000多天里边，对全世界
HNA
几千亿美元的并购和资金来源，
HNA's
和
financial
并购的资
resources
产，
and their
包括在
assets
美国、欧洲、世界的蓝金黄、敌基
like
外，
blue
就是腐败西方、贿赂西方的政治。
they try to affect the politics in the world.
它是在西方间谍系统、情报系统
It proves that
这只能证
he
明
is the
对西方有多
representatives
大
of
的
the
威胁，
intelligence authority.
包
It
括
is a
受到
big threat to the Western
这是个最大的
countries.
情报政治网络，
This is a big
我们叫它
international
政
intelligence
治
network.
情报网络。
We say this is a political intelligence
第
network.
四条，
So the fourth thing
王
is
建的被杀，让中国私人企
so
业
Wang
家，
Jian's death
让中国的资本主义者，
make capitalists and the
让全世
people
界
in the
的
corporations
跟中共合谋的资本家们，
and the capitalists who
让他
work
们
with
看得非常
China.
清楚，共产党是可信赖，是不可信赖，
So
是能
basically
打交道，是不
they
能打
will
交道。
see whether Chinese government can be trusted. So basically everyone can be Wang Jian.
王建之死真相查出来，就能查清楚法国这个国家的政治腐败，
So basically when Wang
美
Jian's
国的
death,
内部的政治
the cause of his death is released, you can see how
共产党
corrupted
跟全世界
France
情报
is.
机构，中国私人企业家一个决定到底要不应该推翻共产党的一个关键因素。
So basically this is a very core reason whether we should fight against the CCP.
刚才这个视频我们大家看到了，视频中7月4号，
So basically in this video
大
you
家记
can
得我们
see
会会放7月3号下午的。
later we'll play the
王建
video on
被
the
杀后
3rd.
的几个小时，
So basically after several
他在
hours after
阳光的纽约
his death, Yang Guo has already come.
美国公民呐，
So he's a U.S.
班农
national.
先生，你应该问问美国政府，
So Mr. Bannon, you should ask U.S.
你怎么参与这个现场？你怎么参与？
how come as a U.S. national you can be involved in this matter?
要起诉阳光了啊！
So we're planning to sue
他
Yang
怎么知
Guang.
道王建死呢？
为什么 Yang Guang 会 knows
然
Wang
后在
Jian's
短
death?
短的20个小时以内，
And then within 20 hours or within 10
中国
hours,
的驻里昂的国际刑警组织人就到了。
so basically the authorities from China has already arrived. Like the state security people, they have come too.
Here's my recommendation. I would
No,
take
what
your
is-
time and explain to people exactly where we are, who these people are, because this is amazing. This is once again, Guo Media investigative is better than.
对了，我先给大家说一下啊，大家看一看这个视频的，这个是滑冰啊，这个前面没显出来，这个是滑冰啊，大家记住啊，7月3号王建先生被杀之后，王建穿着红 T 恤、白衣服回来了，他的拐杖没了。这个同时法国的这哥们儿阿里安就是安联的董事，还有阿鲍斯也来了，也回来了。回来以后，大家看到听着法兰西的音乐离开了7月3号下午，然后就是阳光同志来了，慈航董事。
Yang
然后
Guang has come.
大家看到啊，7月3号的后边我不放啊，我现在是7月4号的。
So I'm just playing the video on the 4th, but not the 3rd. And then Hua Bin come
阿里
again.
亚呢这个也都出现在这里，看看啊。
And Aliana
这
has
时候大家看到这哥们儿也出
also
现了，
appeared. So this person has
这哥们儿
also
在这里
come.
看到手机啊，这手机的内容都是看得清楚。
This person
大家
is
可以
using his
手机
phone.
上可以看手机写什么，他在写什么啊？
So you can see what he writes on his phone. It is interesting.
然后你看看，哥们儿出来穿白衣服，这是谁呀？这个女的
So who
是安
this
联的
person is?
亚洲主席，
she's the Asian president. So basically, when Wang Qishan is ruling, and then she can buy the insurance in Hong Kong. They use renminbi to buy insurance in Hong Kong. It's like over $10,000. So you can see that she wears a white T-shirt. And then this person appears. She wears a black dress. So the white one come in and the black one come out. So this is Yang Guang. He's the director of Yang Hang. So I have a lot of photos that I haven't put out yet, and those are the top officials of US. So basically, Yang Guang is a US national. So all this is about Yang Guang. So there is a shadow over there, a woman in black. So basically she's a translator, she records everything. So you can see that they communicate under the shadow. So you can see Wang Zheng. So this person in black, have you guys seen that before? So he's one of the security guard that has disappeared. So you allies can check this out by yourself. And then there's a person coming out. Are they familiar with each other? Do you think this is just the first day that they met? So basically it is 5 or 6 hours after Wang Jian's death. So do you know who the guy is wearing the glasses? He's Tian Ding. Chromo Hot. Basically he's wearing my favorite brand of clothes. So this is Wang Jian's son. So Wang Shuhan is bringing his luggage and then stay in the room that Wang Jian has stayed before. So you see a little girl at the back. So you can guess for yourself who this girl is. Is it the daughter of Wang Wei? Or Wang Shuhan's girlfriend? You guys can guess for yourself. So you can see. So basically you have to remember like every moment of this video is very fundamental, very critical. So on July 4th, 3:36 at midnight. So basically it's at midnight after Wang Jian's death. So who this person is? So basically it's the Chinese police of the Ministry of Security. You can see Harbin. So he has a bath towel covering him. And who's the guy behind him?
是不是谭向东？不是的，啊，谭向东同志还没出镜呢啊，还没到出镜。这是谁呀？看看这保镖，这个是田丁儿，田丁儿。
So this is Tianjin.
田丁儿，看这个杀手级的田丁儿，看啊，在大堂里边开会。
So
到盘房间，这是谁呀？王正吗？
in the lobby.
这是王正吗？看看啊，王正。 裴丹南呢？裴丹南呢？裴丹南呢？这是谁呀？这是谁？
So who this guy
现
is?
在在你们的视野中出现的已经不是3个人了，4个人了，5个人。
So there are 4 to 5 people showing up in the video.
啊，还又名李文峰，啊，王正，韩向东，你们没看到呢？田丁丁儿。 大家看到这深夜，这么多中国共产党，在短短的10几个小时
basically the CCP
他是怎么飞过来的？
have assigned so many people coming to France only within like 10 hours.
今天给大家的小菜，
So this is just a small part of our whistleblowing.
因为昨天晚上没睡觉，我今天跟班农先生直播，我就担心我的这个。
Because I didn't sleep well yesterday night.
翻译岗没搞不明白，所以说准备点小直播。
And then I worried that our translator could not do well. That's why we just show a small part of the video.
当看到这的时候啊。
So our dearest allies, when you see this all,
真灭共，
we will use the truth to eliminate
这就是
CCP.
我们的真善海，我们的国旗条。
So this is what I advocated.
班农先生，我必须要跟你说，你
So I have to tell you, Bannon, you know you have contributed
这
a
回
lot.
这个台湾的访问团的人来跟我见面，
So
希望安排我们
the
能为我活动。
Taiwanese representatives have come to talk to me.
是班农先生和你的爆料让
It is because of Bannon
失去了一切。
and
他所有的原因就是因为你们俩。
that made Guo Taiming cry in Taiwan. It's because of our whistleblowing that made him lose everything.
The more information's out to Chinese, Taiwan people, Hong Kong people, Chinese people, American people, French people, the more this all gets sorted. The criminal cartel that is the radical cadre, the CCP, cannot continue on with a free media because you expose the corruption. And you saw this in Taiwan with Terry Guo. That's why he's got the big crocodile tears today, right? Because he's losing in this primary, which should take one more day, and we'll know tomorrow. But no, Miles, I think you're. What's most disgusting to me is that this could happen in. We're supposed to be the nations that have the rule of law. We're supposed to be the nations that have the freedom of the press. We're supposed to be the nations that have free speech. And yet, the H&A scandal did not take place in China. That was just the mechanism they used. The scandal of H&A is a global scandal, and it's among the most sophisticated people, the smartest people, the biggest insiders, right? The people that run the banks, control the banks, the big law firms, the big media companies, they're all in it on this H&A. And so what's so, what's positive is what's happening in Taiwan with Terry Guo. What's positive is what's happening in Hong Kong with the young protesters standing up to the CCP. What is good is that you see that here in the story here that the investigative reporters in China are saying we're being suppressed, we're being put in prison, that she is doing everything to stop us. That's the positive. What the negative is when you see the scale of the corruption around the CCP. Remember, what Xi and the Xuan Xishan, the Chinese Communist Party touch, they turn to evil, right? That because they're a criminal. You can't think of them as a government, you have to think of them as a criminal conspiracy, right? A criminal conspiracy to suppress the Chinese people. And the way they do that is influence peddling and money laundering operations throughout the world. Always remember, they are the wealthiest dictatorship in the history of mankind. And the question's got to be, how did they get so wealthy? How were they able to steal all this money and wealth from the Chinese people? One of the vehicles is H&A. And when the chairman became a problem, they got rid of him. And here's the two great calls that Miles Kwok had. 9 months before Terry Guo announced he was going to run, Miles in September of 18 said Terry Guo is going to run. I go, Terry Guo, he's the Foxconn guy. Why would he ever run? Miles Kwok goes, no, he's going to run for the presidency. He's told the CCP. And then in the spring of 17, right, Miles Kwok was talking all about the corruption of H&A. Voice of America pulled the plug on him. All the media said this guy's a crazy man. He got sued. He was, taken into court. All of that, and it turns out that he's 100% correct on H&A. It's an influence peddling and money laundering operation of the CCP. It's the way they transfer wealth out of China, away from the hardworking people of China, into places like New York City and London, right, to build their wealth. And this has been exposed now with really the demise of the chairman of H&A. And so, and I realize that people should understand Miles Kwok's not going to give up on this. Every day we hear another, major expose. So it's quite extraordinary, Miles, quite extraordinary.
非常感谢班农先生。
So it's very heartwarming. I thank Bannon for all the praise.
这个任务呢，灭共啊。
So our mission of eliminating CCP.
这不是一个简单的一个善与恶和共产党的一个简单的。
This is not a very simple
真的全世界里面
issue. All of us have to cooperate together to eliminate
我们这
CCP.
些爆料，我们要用证据。
So we have to use evidence, trust.
我们还更重要的是，接下
We have to use evidence and truth to reveal all the
更
matter.
多的证据。
We will gather more evidence.
我现在给大家讲一个其他的事情。几位美国朋友在问我。
So I have to tell you some more things. Several American friends have told me. They asked me, "Oh, what's happened?"
这是前天问我。
香港哦，新间。
我只有2个结果。共产党。
So basically, there are 2 results. The CCP will send the soldiers to shut down Hong Kong.
香港将回到国际社会，香港人民将事实上的再回到100年或1000年的独立自管、港人治港的时代。
Hong Kong.
第2条，香港一直在这样抗议中。
Or Hong Kong will keep on protesting.
最后引发国内大面积的学习，像今天武汉一样，西安一样。
And then it will become a big incident, just like Sichuan, Wuhan.
共产党亡，中国的新生，香港得到新生，得到新的生命。
So basically,
只有这样。
eventually Hong Kong will get a new life.
香港一定是共产党死亡的第1道大门。
So basically, Hong Kong is the first door that leads to China's death.
台湾的所有的政客。
So basically, if Hong Kong wins, then Taiwan will win as well.
会塞进了台湾很小的，但塞满了垃圾的垃圾桶里面。只有有勇气的、有国际意识的，为了选举的、为了台湾人民未来的，有智慧的政治家。
So only when a politician who cares about the people and then cooperate with Hong Kong people, but not just concerned about the presidential election, only by doing so can they get the chance for a new life.
沙田的抗议当中，第1次举的全部是美国旗，大部分。
So basically, you can see that
过去都举英国旗啊，英国靠不住了。
A lot of people, they are raising the U.S. flags in the protests, but not the UK flags.
所以这是共产党必亡，我们一定会赢。
So I would say we will definitely win.
都是创造历史。
Like every one of our allies are doing a historical things. They are one of the important members to achieve this.
这就是我们追求的爆料革命的价值。
So this is our values of whistleblowing.
我们要把更多像班农先生这样的人。
We need some more people like Bannon working together with us to eliminate the evil power of CCP.
现在我们有翻译奶奶，还有翻译港妹啊。
So we have 2 interpreters and a technician and some more allies right now. We cannot do this by ourselves. We have tens of thousands, millions of allies. We will not be eliminated that easily. So everything is just the beginning. So this is the end of our broadcasting today. So we will let Bannon to talk about his viewpoint, and then we will get a short prayer. And then we will also have a video, which is 7 minutes long, and then we'll play it.
package to Taiwan. And I want to thank you all for
谁没看 before fight him? You look at 旧装 just 2 years ago. This guy 旧装 you look at 2 years ago in front of my door. Crazy. You think guy look at it. Unbelievable. You know this.
There he is.
Yeah, look at this guy. Miles was a reaper guy. Won't kill me.
Look at
Look at that. Right side. Covering his eyes.
Oh.
知道这是个 student is the 公司guy and no ID back because they keep the root of the law. This is the system. Oh my gosh. Everywhere CCP style. Look at this. Same style, huh? Everywhere. They call CCP mafia solution. They don't believe rule of the law, justice. They just believe power and mafia solution. This is crazy. You look at this. Oh, this is you need to see this. All the China, 24
The kidney has a very special place in the heart. And Alex and so many of the people, Senator, Congressman, you've worked so hard on these things. You've worked so hard on the kidney. Very special. The kidney has a very special place in the heart. It's an incredible thing. People that have to go, there's people that have loved ones that are working so hard to stay alive. They have to work so hard. There's an esprit de corps, there's a spirit like you see rarely on anything. So I just want to thank all of you folks for being here.
I want to reiterate that Taiwan will never be intimidated. The challenges we face will serve to strengthen our engage with the international community. The 23 million people of Taiwan have a right to participate in international affairs, and this right should not be subject to political preconditions.
我们是海洋国家，是世界的台湾，所以我们绝对不会把自己封闭在台湾海峡的一角。我们也期待在出访的时候，为台湾寻找更大的空间以及商机。台湾会坚定地守护民主制度。我们的民主得来不易，现在更面临境外势力的威胁与渗透。这些挑战也是全世界民主国家共同面临的挑战。我们会和理念相近的国家相互的合作，一起确保民主制度的稳固。这几年来，我们跟美国的关系上面，在互动也好，或者在一些关系的发展上，都有一些进步啊。那我们也会持续的努力啊，来强化我们之间的这个互动跟发展，还有伙伴的关系。外界说是所谓的红色势力渗透台湾的民主，那你怎么看？那我们目前要怎么预防这一回假新闻跟散播假新闻啊，造成台湾社会的对立跟冲突啊？那么对台湾的民主来讲，其实是一个很大的威胁啊。那所以呢，我们这段时间以来啊，一直在强化我们台湾的民主的防护网。那同样的事情也发生在很多的主要的国家、民主国家。那大家现在都非常聚焦在这个民主防护网的建构啊。那我们也希望透过法律、透过政策，能够让我们的社会啊，能够有一个很好的防护的机制啊，对这些用讯息战或者其他的方法来侵扰我们的这个社会尤其是我们的民主的这个正常的运作啊，这些呢都是我们大家一起要来做的事。
Yeah, such great kids. Look at it.
Every day, every year. This is Hong Kong farmer side.
想負翻責任，既然我哋生產得呢啲垃圾嘅，咁我哋都有責任去清潔翻。
Sir, you don't cry.